The grand dining room at the Sterling Hotel glittered with crystal chandeliers and gold ornaments. Christmas Eve always brought out the city's elite, and tonight was no exception. Victoria adjusted her diamond necklace and tried to smile as her husband Adrian checked his phone for the third time since they'd sat down. 7-year-old Lily sat between them, her blonde braids perfectly done, her red velvet dress pristine. She gazed up at the towering Christmas tree by the window, its lights reflecting in her wide eyes. To anyone watching, they looked like the perfect family, wealthy, beautiful, composed. But Lily hadn't smiled in 6 months. Adrian Sterling, CEO of Sterling Industries, was a man who solved problems. He'd built an empire from nothing, turned failing companies into gold mines, negotiated deals that made headlines. But he couldn't reach his own daughter, not since the fever that had stolen her hearing when she was 6. "Mr. Sterling, your usual table," the maitre d' had said when they arrived. Adrian nodded absently, already thinking about the merger that would close in January. Victoria touched up her lipstick, scanning the room to see who else had come. Neither of them noticed Lily's hands moving slowly, signing words they'd never learned. Rachel worked the Christmas Eve shift because she needed the money. At 24, with braided brown hair and a warm smile, she'd been waiting tables at the Sterling for 2 years, while finishing her degree in speech pathology. Most of the staff had families to go home to, but Rachel's apartment was empty, and the holiday tips were good. She approached table 12 with practiced grace, notepad ready. The couple looked tense. The man was on his phone. The woman stared out the window, but the little girl caught Rachel's attention immediately. The child's hands were moving in her lap. Small, hesitant gestures, sign language. Rachel's heart squeezed. She'd grown up with a deaf brother. She knew that loneliness, that isolation of being in a room full of people who couldn't understand you. She knelt beside Lily's chair, at eye level, and signed, "Hello, beautiful. My name is Rachel. What's yours?" Lily's eyes went wide. She looked at Rachel like she'd seen an angel. Her hands flew up, signing rapidly, "You can talk to me? Really talk to me?" "I can talk to you," Rachel signed back, her smile genuine and warm. "What would you like for dinner tonight?" "For the first time in 6 months, Lily smiled, a real smile that lit up her whole face. Adrian looked up from his phone. "Excuse me, what are you doing?" Rachel stood, professional but kind. "I was asking your daughter what she'd like to eat, sir. She's been trying to tell you something." Victoria's face flushed. "We haven't learned sign language yet. We've been busy," the tutor said. "She's saying she wants to know if the chicken tastes like the chicken her grandmother used to make," Rachel said gently, "before she got sick." The silence at the table was deafening. Adrian set down his phone. Victoria's hand went to her throat. "She remembers that?" Adrian's voice was barely a whisper. Rachel knelt again, signed to Lily, then looked back at the parents. "She says she remembers everything from before. She wants you to know she's still the same girl. She just can't hear anymore." Victoria's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back, mindful of her makeup. Adrian stared at his daughter like he was seeing her for the first time in months. "Could you?" Adrian cleared his throat. "Could you stay? Help us talk to her. I'll pay you whatever. You don't need to pay me extra, sir," Rachel said softly. "Let me put in your order, and I'll come back. We'll talk." For the next hour, Rachel became a bridge. Between courses, she pulled up a chair and translated. Lily signed about school, about the other kids who didn't know how to talk to her, about feeling invisible in her own home, about missing bedtime stories and her father's laugh and her mother's singing. Adrian listened with his phone face down on the table. Victoria held Lily's hand, tears streaming down her face, not caring anymore who saw. "She says she thought you didn't love her anymore," Rachel translated, her own voice thick, "because you stopped looking at her." Adrian broke. This man who commanded boardrooms and made million-dollar decisions without flinching crumbled. He pulled Lily into his arms and held her like he should have been holding her for 6 months. "Baby, I'm so sorry," he whispered into her hair, even though she couldn't hear. Rachel signed his words. "I was scared. I didn't know how to help you. I thought if I couldn't fix it, I was failing you." Lily pulled back and signed something. Rachel's smile was watery. "She says you don't need to fix her. She's not broken. She just needs you to learn her language." Victoria sobbed openly now. We've been so horrible, so focused on therapies and specialists and getting her hearing back that we forgot to just be with her." Rachel signed to Lily, and the little girl's response made her laugh through tears. "She says it's okay. It's Christmas. Everyone gets a second chance at Christmas." The dinner ended, but something had begun. Adrian asked Rachel for resources, sign language classes, support groups. He took notes like his life depended on it, because in a way, it did. When the check came, Adrian handed Rachel his business card along with a tip that made her gasp. "That's not for the service. That's thank you for giving me my daughter back. But I'd like to hire you properly. Sterling Industries needs a director of accessibility and inclusion. We employ 5,000 people, and I just realized we've probably been failing a lot of them the way I failed Lily." Rachel stared at the card. "Sir, I'm just a waitress. I'm still in school." "You saw my daughter when I couldn't," Adrian said. "You spoke to her in the language she needed. That's not something you learn in business school. That's something you are. I'll work around your class schedule. Name your salary," Victoria added, "and please, teach us. Come to our home. Have dinner with us. Be Lily's friend. She needs someone who understands." Rachel looked at Lily, who was signing excitedly. "Please say yes. Please be my friend." "I'd be honored," Rachel signed back. That was 5 years ago. Now, Rachel sat in her corner office at Sterling Industries, where she'd built an entire department dedicated to making the company accessible to all employees. She'd finished her degree, hired a team, and changed countless lives. But every Christmas Eve, she still went to the Sterling Hotel, not to work, but to have dinner with the Sterling family. Lily, now 12, was thriving in a school for the deaf where she had friends who understood her. Victoria had learned sign language and volunteered at deaf community centers. Adrian had transformed his company into a model of inclusion. This Christmas Eve, as they sat at table 12, Lily signed to Rachel, "You know what I love most about you?" "What?" Rachel signed back. "You didn't see a broken girl who needed fixing. You saw me, just me, and you helped my parents see me too." Adrian reached across the table and squeezed Rachel's hand. "You gave us the greatest gift. You gave us back our family. Sometimes the most profound moments happen in the smallest gestures. Sometimes the people who change our lives aren't the ones with the most credentials or the biggest titles. They're the ones who take the time to speak our language, to see our hearts, to remind us that connection matters more than perfection. And sometimes, all it takes is one person willing to kneel down, look you in the eye, and say in whatever language you need, 'I see you. You matter. You're not alone.'" If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button and share it with someone who needs a reminder that small acts of kindness can change everything. Subscribe for more stories that celebrate the power of human connection, and leave a comment telling us about someone who took the time to truly see you when you needed it most. Your story might inspire someone to be that person for someone else.